Alright, hey everybody, and welcome back to another retrospective analysis. Haven't done one of those in a while. Yesterday I managed to play a few games versus Putin. This is the first one and the best one out of those. The other two games were one-sided, one way or the other, and not really that interesting to watch. I will upload those as well as this current video unlisted. Links hopefully in the description. If not, check out the sorted out playlist that you can hopefully access from my channel, where I upload every now and then a bunch of unlisted videos. Usually just when I'm recording, but I'm not commentating or something, and I listen to music or whatever. Those will always just, or most of the time, just be uploaded. Sorry, unlisted. Just like these games too. I didn't comment, which is why you'll at least this game get in this form. Putin is playing Dutch-German coalition. I am playing a new deck that I wanted to try out. Well, it's not really new. This is I think the second game, not actually the first one I played with, and that is Red 4 Unspec. Why? Well, I played a bit of Red 4 Armored recently, and I was like, it's mostly a fun deck because, in many scenarios, Red 4 mech is better or just more versatile. It's still fun though, and still very, very viable for sure. But I was like, the only tanks I use are basically the M84A. Every now and then I buy a T80U, but it's usually when I'm already in a winning position anyways. Rarely I buy a T80U, for the T80U itself, which maybe doesn't even make sense. In any case, so it's like, let's see what a Red 4 Unspec deck could look like. And I was just, putting in some units, and this is what I ended up with. Like I said, the M84A, the M84A is such a unique tank. I've said it many times before, but I just want to reiterate on it. It is basically the only tank, in my opinion, that covers every spectrum of what you want out of a tank, if that makes any sense. It is still cheap enough that you don't mind buying it for a flank, and it is strong and effective enough that you can use it as your main frontline tank even against super heavies. You just have to have decent smoke micro or unit usage. The M1 Wilk kind of comes close, but that one extra AP can make not can, but does make quite a difference, relatively noticeable. But also the accuracy, the stabilizer, and also the off-road speed massively help the M84A to just close the gap and effectively kill super heavies at close range. Not saying the M1 Wilk is a bad tank, not by any means. It's still an amazing tank. But if you could choose just one tank, no matter how many cards you want in your tank tab, I think the M84A is just straight up the best choice. However, it should be noted that the M84A has only 2 top armor. So if you're playing against CS with Nighthawks, against Israel or Blue Unspec, with Kernas, that can sometimes be a bit annoying. Outside of that, though, as you probably know, straight up amazing tank. I'm also not upvetting it. I could probably upvet it. I think in most scenarios I will not need more than 12 tanks. At the same time, you don't gain. It's not that needed, I should say, due to the amazing accuracy and stabilizer. So I think I'd rather have a tiny bit less effective tank than have the tiny possibility of running out of M84As, if that makes any sense. What else did I note? Alouette 2 actually started to really like it, at least in the few games I played, felt very useful. The other thing is just the recon tab is not bad, but I feel like I don't really need much. The Liren and the Sneska are the 2 most important cards, probably. Liren just to have that shock infantry, to have recon infantry. Sneska to have a cheap anti-ground vehicle. Actually relatively important, because the BVP doesn't always cut it against other light armored vehicles. The BGC-80, while very good, even against ground vehicles, if the enemy has any resemblance of decent AT, the BGC-80 won't do all too much unless at very close range. And sometimes, you don't want to buy an M84, even though I said that, it's still cheap enough that you can do it, but you get the point. I don't even use the Specialny Jednotki in this game, for example, and also not the other games against Putin. so far. So yeah. The only difference from this deck and a deck that is in the game is that I switched the positions of the L15M and the Lazur, because as you will see at the start of the game, I accidentally buy an L15M instead of a Lazur, which is very unfortunate. I will do a special deck showcase video, I think, at some point later, but I'm still kind of in the trying out phase. And one other thing I want to mention though before we get into the game is the Polo. Massively underrated unit. I've wanted to use it for a while already. Like I remember that Nande, it always comes down to Nande. Like even shortly after release of Yugoslavia, I think he effectively said or mentioned or just used, the Polo, and was like, it really doesn't look that bad for only 35 points. But I never really actually used it, even if I had it in my deck. And then just recently I stumbled upon it again, most notably in the Red Armor deck, and I used it, and it was pretty good. Granted, I didn't play a lot of games with Red Armored, and I didn't play a lot of games with this deck, 4 in total, I believe. 1 versus Balanced, and 3 versus Putin. The second one you'll see now. But at least so far, based on that small sample size, it's a very useful unit to have. And also kind of fills that gap of being able to deal with vehicles while not costing 95 points like the M84A. But you will see for yourself what this unit can do. Other than that, PGC80s, by the way, in case you're using them yourself, it's not worth upbetting them. I did upbet them in Baltic, but I looked at the stats and you literally gain like 1% accuracy at max range. So, yeah, not really worth it. Everything else seems fairly standard. Might want to use Portal 90 instead of the Panzeri, but their wheel transport costs 5 points more, and I think their MG is a bit worse. There's a lot of things that I want to try out, and it's still very early in the deck building, but so far it seems a very solid deck. Well, the way I built it, I mean. So let's get into the game. So Putin playing Dutch German. Me playing this. Also, tanks to be very useful against Putin and such, or in general. 135 points, 2 top armor. Sorry. Yeah, I started with an M8 MTV here. Let me just go through over the deployment until it's done, and then I'll explain my thought process. Like I said, he's playing Dutch-German coalition, meaning no wheeled AA. Sorry, he does have a tiger, however. And I didn't know, and I wasn't sure whether he likes to start with that or not. I should know because I've seen 1 or 2 games of his Dutch-German coalition deck from the tournament, but I genuinely just didn't remember. Yeah, PGC80 build is very important for my AA net, and also just coincidentally also just very good versus Putin. All right, so what was my there we go. What was my thought process? So M8 MTV flying into this town, the other one flying into this town, or this rough area. Why? Well, I kind of expected a tiger. Well, I wouldn't say I expected, but I was like, there's a decent chance he'll start with a tiger. However, the tiger isn't fast enough that it can deal with both MTVs at the same time. So I was expected to lose at least one, right? And I was like, he doesn't have wheel AA, and I was expecting, it should be fast enough to land there. And I didn't expect to push it. I only wanted to get the VDV in here, which are defensively, especially against vehicles, obviously very amazing, together with the MTV support. Basically just, if he was pushing there, which I didn't expect, but you never know, slow him down. And if he wasn't pushing there, annoy him and force him to spend a lot of points. Or, depending on what he has, throughout the game, open up a possibility of pushing up there in Anna, because if you have the town pushing the enemy out of Boris, or even pushing it properly into Anna, is so much easier, because not only do you know the town is clear, there's a zone around the town, obviously, where your enemy can't really place units, and you already have units there, obviously. So other than that, relatively standard. Just light units here, ATGM squad, you know, driving in there, recon in there, and then just driving down this road and attacking into here. Fairly standard. However, the M84A with a great off-road speed could relatively quickly reroute into this area too, in case he was pushing down here. I spot an escort. I do have the AKM there, so that isn't really a huge deal. Being wheeled, obviously, it's gonna be just up on the same speed as the AKM. And here's why the Alouette, especially in this game and on this map, is so great, because you can position it here or here, and it will just spot up on this plateau. Of course, you know, if the enemy has a Crotale or something, it is kind of easy to kill it, but I think even if you position it in here, it can be a bit tough, you know? But that is just so crucial, because very often the plateau is a fallback zone for the enemy, right? To repair units, or just position your Patriot, long range AA, you know? Because generally speaking, none of the units from below can really fire up there, except for artillery. But at the same time, sometimes people also just mass up the units here before they do an unexpected push down here. Great graphic. So that is just why the Alouette, or a recon helo in general, is so useful here. There's the Tiger. You know, obviously, you know, Tiger in this range, while I spotted the escort up here. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I already spotted the escort like back here, right? And now at this position, I can spot this unidentified helicopter. Being in a very similar range, being so close to the M8 MTV, not identified. Obviously, it has to be the Tiger, you know? Most of you will have already guessed it from themselves, but some maybe not, so I just want to make these things clear, that based on this little snippets of information, you can very often just already deduct what enemy unit it is, even if you don't properly spot it. And, I mean, I spotted it now, so now it's obvious, not like it made a difference, but you know, sometimes you only spot it briefly. So here's the fuck up. Usually, I think I was like kind of in like Eastern Bloc at back mentality. And I believe in Eastern Bloc, the Lazur is the furthest right plane that I have. And it might also be the same case for Entente. And maybe even Red for Armored or something, which I feel like I have this, I'm conditioned to my anti-helo lane being on the furthest right. So what I do, I spot the Tiger, and I'm like, oh hell yeah, that's by Lazur, and you can see me, you know, whenever I'm not commentating, and I'm like, ah, shit, I fucked up. I always do this motion, you know, and yeah, I buy the L15M. I send it out because, you know, as Razzmann, learn talking. I sent it out because I was like, alright, I see this shit ton of stuff driving down here. So he's probably gonna drive down here, so I can maybe at least, you know, catch some of his shit and, you know, still get some value out of the plane I bought, right? If I bought the plane, I might as well try to use it. And at least it's not a, you know, 27M and I don't even spot any heavy tanks or something, but the L15M, especially against a lot of light vehicle stuff, can do a lot of work with HE and cluster bombs. Congress M also doing a lot of work, forcing him to unload. PGC-80 though, they're gonna be so good because they outrange the fucking Tiger. Obviously they can't spot it, but even a single one, if you're a bit lucky, manages to even at max range just stun and panic the Tiger, making it not useless, but close to useless, or the closest thing it can be to useless. So I see him driving down here. I guess it's because he spotted my shit here with this Tiger, and now expects me to be weak here, or doesn't have anything to do with M84As, whatever his thinking is. He has some thinking behind it. So I send the L15M. I honestly didn't even realize back then how much, or if I did something. I did kill one of the... I guess I didn't really do much. I effectively killed one Grenadier squad. I guess it's better than nothing. But it got out alive, so that's not a huge deal. Tiger still here. Exactly, that's where it was. Single PGC-80, you know? Managed to stun this Tiger. And, you know, if the Tiger gets stunned while an ATGM is in midair, you know, the ATGM becomes useless, you know? So that is why it's so good. I'm not sure if I mentioned it, by the way. I want to preface this. I think I played very well this game, except for the first 10 to 15 minutes, but you'll see what I mean. Unfortunately, though, what happened here? The OSA had line of sight on the tiger, was just firing. But the PGC-80 was also still firing, right? And sometimes when your helicopter gets panicked or stunned, what happens is it starts flying up and down, you know, lowering altitude and stuff because it's panicked, stunned, and just starts flying all over the place. And that caused to the AKM, if you can see the crater here, it caused the AKM to, while it was firing, oh, Tiger was flying down, got blocked by, I don't know, either this forest bit or this bridge, and the OSA AKM lost line of sight, resulting in the missile landing in here. So that was very unfortunate. So in that scenario, the PGC-80 kind of worked against me. And now there's the Peace Run coming in, sniping the AKM. And it's another great thing with the PGC-80. Not only is the PGC-80 cheap, so you can, you know, just buy it here and there. Even if the enemy has no helicopters to shoot it or something, it is still effective as a ground support vehicle, you know? So if I was playing without a PGC-80, maybe I would have only had the AKM here as an AA, you know? Because most likely my other AA would maybe be something like a Strelatin M, something along those lines, or maybe even a Manpad. However, Manpad, not very mobile unless it's like an LSTR squad. Strelatin M, probably for me, for my playstyle, maybe a bit too expensive to buy on top of the AKM on that single flank. So maybe I would have been greedy and only started with one AKM. What would that mean? Well, he sniped the AKM, now his Tiger, or if he buys another escort or something, could really fuck me over. But me having access to the PGC-80 and buying it and, you know, spamming it all over the map effectively over the course of the game means I always have something around to maybe not kill the Tiger, but force it to stand back, you know? And there are so many that there's no point in trying to buy a Peace Run to snipe a PGC-80, you know, unless it's like a very niche scenario. Of course, there can be that scenario where it is useful, but you get the point, right? So that's also what makes them so great, you know. I have no real AA here to deal with like Peace Runs. However, you know, with smokes, you know, I can kind of deal or protect my tanks. And the PGC-80, you know, basically stops the Tiger from doing any shit. Also, I'm 17 minutes in and the game is not even 3 minutes over. Jesus. I also spot the, I completely forgot to mention this once again. The M8 MTV here, as you might have seen here, died to a Gepard. I think the Gepard was in this area or something. Apparently, you know, I wasn't really sure, because I don't do that very often, but apparently, you know, as you see, the M8 MTV wasn't fast enough to get there, unload, and get back out. Or at the very least, just unload. Now I know, so it's not worth it. It might work with an MI25, the higher speed, you know, or maybe if I have something like, I don't even get Erika. Do you get any other unit in the Super Puma? I don't know, nothing worth using. So you know, now in the future, I'll probably not try that anymore. Also, M84A lost in here. Milan 2 squad shot, obviously it didn't fire a curve, but it shot at the M84A here. I didn't notice it at this point in time. I tried to go for the Leopard Buchanan with my L59, but it was on the move, and so yeah. M84A, I just noticed that I lost one, so I'm pulling it back. And overall, I'm in an okay position. I kind of won the ground push, but he obviously still has the Talent Gregory. He still has his Tiger too, which is his most the Tiger, which is his the unit that he spent the most points on. He has a bunch of AA left, so I didn't really kill a whole lot because it didn't really start with a whole lot of ground units for me to kill. Peace Run obviously is still L15M. I got greedy, tried to go for the Gepard that I thought was there. I don't think I got it. And at least I got out alive with 1 HP and nonetheless, but yeah. Also the Alouette also would warn me if he tried to push down Anna, and obviously also spotted the Leopard Buchanan, which I might have not been able to spot with you know, just a few units I had there due to the medium stealth and maybe line of sight blockades, etc, etc. M84A here. I had it on attack move, apparently. I forgot about it. Now, when I said I played bad the first 10 minutes, this is what I mean. You'll see in a bit what happens. It's still pushing up on the left. I don't notice it. Gepard, by the way, is still alive. And there we go. Pentagrams even missed the side shot, which is a bit unfortunate for him, but it didn't really matter because the Peace Run hit with both, so so avoidable. Both the M84As were avoidable. The first one, losing, I can kind of understand, that happens. But this one, it was very much avoidable. Yeah, I have now 3 PGC-80s here, so the target can fuck right off. Liren, I at least managed to push up, and I think it killed. What did it just kill? Was it a Lux Milan or something? I don't know. I spot his Milan 2 here, so I have to be wary. I should use a lot more smoke here when I'm trying to push up, whoops, with the M84A. There's the peace run. I tell the peace run to move this, a right click move this, not attack move or reverse, but just so it turns towards peace run, so in case only one of the missiles hit, I would survive. And that's also exactly what happens. So yeah, the lasso that I bought for the Tiger, I just had called out, I believe. So it was kind of lucky that I had it there, managed to kill the Tiger, the peace run. In case you don't know, the Lasurs in an L70K, they might be amazing against helicopters, and they might only Razzmann talk properly, and they might only have short range versus the versus planes. But if they get in range, they can also against planes do a lot of work. Unfortunately, M84A didn't get into cover here fast enough. I'm not even sure what it got spotted by, if it was the Tiger or the Milan still at line of sight, or the MX-13. I don't know. Unfortunately, he had line of sight and he got the kill. I bought an also AKM. I bought it this time for here because generally it should have enough range to still shoot at planes that are circling here. Could in theory, could it then also of course deal with stuff over there if needed. Unfortunately, gets out alive, Unfortunate, but as expected, I'd imagine. A single AKM that is downwetted as well. Against 20% ECM plane. Kind of unlikely that it hits, or that it actually manages to kill. I thought the Tiger might just land or hover low here, so I was going for the mortar, trying to kill. In case you're wondering why I turn off the guns, the MX-13 was kind of pushing up here, but my Panzerjäger were shaken, and with 50% base accuracy in the FLS, I didn't expect them to hit at max range against the MX-13 and miss and then get killed by them, so I wanted to turn the weapons all off and wait until the MX-13 is very, very close so that I can get much closer. And then he pulls back, so, it was fine. I might MTV that I had from the VDV on the right. Getting some damage on the Panzergrants. The nice thing is, and you will see that later on as well, he doesn't really have a lot of cover to work with, so I can very easily spot where his AA is if he has AA near the area, and what AA he has. So it's very nice. Also, I was starting to smoke off here to block off his fire support because I only had infantry and no vehicles, and the first smoke was actually perfect for covering my Liren for the MX-13 when it killed the AMX PRI, which is kind of funny. Liren unfortunately died because I forgot to turn on the RMG, and the Marder 2 obviously helped. So I have no infantry Gregory left. He has a KWS. Not a huge concern for me right now because my planes are repairing, but it obviously protects his not his KWS, his Tiger from my Lasur. I see him spending a good amount of points here, which is very, very annoying, and because it means that if I lose feet, or pushing back into this might be very, very annoying, and yeah, it's always kind of very, very awkward trying to push the opponent out of here if you don't even have this. Especially, usually you'd like to do this with like helicopters, as fire support and stuff, because usually they don't have AA here, but obviously he has a Tiger, and that makes it basically impossible to do. Polo here, simply because he has like always Marder 2s and shit around here, and the Polo is ideal for dealing with that. I'll wait on the flank here because, I spotted the Vercanning earlier on the right, so I thought maybe he's gonna try something else, or maybe gonna try to pull that back again. We're just playing those Conquer Sam because so far they've done a lot of work, and, Conquer Sam. Other than that, not really all too much happening. I'm basically playing very passive because at the moment I have the better position, right? I have control over the left and have footholds here, so that is good for me. I buy a CV because I saw him buying a CV. Maybe not a correct choice because I don't have a lot of stuff there, but yeah. I did spot the Gepard here. And you know, with the slope, you can shoot up there. Get a hit, immediately retreat, because I was expecting that maybe his Milan here might be able to fire at my M84A despite the smoke there. And also, maybe he will immediately call out his piece Rhine. Unfortunately, I missed this shot, which is very unlucky, because now Putin notices that I shot it and retreats. So that is very unfortunate. That results in the death of my M84A. I was trying to be greedy, try to maybe see if I can get another shot of after all, and didn't, and got sideshot immediately by the Milan. Avoidable and just bad play by me. That's what I mean when I said I didn't really play very well at the start, in the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But I have another M84A here, and my Alouette doesn't really spot anything up here, and he could have Milan here, but outside of Milan, his infantry shouldn't have enough range to sideshot my M84A, so I was like, you know, let's build up some smokes to immediately retreat and see if I can maybe still get the Gepard, you know, maybe the Mara 2 as well, but most importantly the Gepard. Because then maybe I can do something with MI MTVs or Heinz or whatever. Now I'm just driving up with the BTR 50 because I didn't spot anything else except for the Mara 2, so you know, might as well just try and probe. He's still kind of trying to probe here, but doesn't really push up with anything proper. Building up a smoke wall here, because I want to push up with the Panzerilla Carry into this row here. And with the M84A and the Polo, I want to give fire support and deal with the Mara 2. I still know that there are Grenadier here, like 7 men or something. So yeah, he does have a TD here, which signals to me, alright, he is scared of me pushing up the M84A here, or maybe something else. The fact that he bought a 130 points helicopter to deal with the M84A signals to me that he doesn't have a lot up there, and he's scared of me pushing up there. So that's very good. And the TD obviously is not really the greatest helicopter. I'm surprised he didn't buy a Tiger instead, because it costs basically the same, and he has a fob, and a Tiger is just so much more useful and would have been able to deal with a single M84A as well. So maybe it was just a I would say panic buy, but maybe he bought it and then 2 seconds thought to himself as well, oh, I should have just bought a Tiger. This is another bad play by me. So I have the smoke here. I have the M84A here. I obviously know that there are Milan here, but I push it out of the smoke to get a shot at either the Grenadiers or the Mara 2 and pull back in, right? Fairly standard. Nope. Turns out the smoke was, you know, behind the M84A and the M84A was here. So if this is the area where smoke blocks line of sight, you know, the M84A was here. So the Milan were able to shoot here, and they wouldn't have been able to shoot in through this, you know. You'll see it, me moving the camera. You can see like the smoke effectively ends here and the M84A is there. Bad play by me, you know. Obviously, you know, from my point of view, it kind of looked like I was in smoke, but that's why you always have to be mindful of where your smoke is. I can't talk. Am I 35 on the left? I basically know that he can't really kill it over there. He could move his Tiger up, but he might be too scared because he thinks I have PGC-80s there, which I currently don't, actually. But I've seen his Ronin through here, I've seen a Gepard here, that's the only AA I saw, and I killed the Gepard, and the Ronin is, I think, back there at the moment. So I basically know that, you know, as long as I'm not too aggressive, the MR35 is basically unchallenged, you know, unless he dives it or, like I said, gets like his Tiger up or something. I lost my mortar here, but it was empty. I also lost the Polo. Yeah, overall not looking good for me, really. I have a good position, but I didn't really trade my units very effectively. That's obviously bad. There's the Ronin. So I'm putting back my MR35 and the Alouette. And I'm really forcing him to move his AA left and right. It really feels like I'm I'm Putin and he's Razzmann, the way, you know, with these helicopter engagements right now. That's like exactly how I feel when I play against Putin. But yeah, Polo here again. So I have something against vehicles. Putting it in here because let me just wait until I move the camera to the left a bit. Because I was scared that on the left or across the river there's some Milans or something else, you know, in here or in there, you know, that might shoot down the PvP. I also can't really push it in here because then a Milan 2 would kill it. I kind of would like to have something like a plummet in here. I could get a Jurgen, but then I really want to run a fob, and then that would mean I would have to get another support card or trade out a PGC 80, but most importantly get another logistics card. So I'm like, I could, you know, maybe take out the L15M, which I don't really use it much, and it's kind of just in there because I don't know what else to put in, and put in a fob and replace one of the PGC 80s with a Jurgen. I'm not sure. It's like I said, I'm still testing out this deck. But indirect fire or anything to be better deal with those entrenched Milan 2s would have been nice. But again, I see his Rodent here. I didn't spot anything else driving down there in terms of AA, at least not yet. So I kind of can guess, or that he doesn't really have any AA there. So the MI35 will basically deal with all this shit, or should deal with all this shit that he's pushing up there. He's pushing up with this shit here. Of course, my Panzer Liakari also ran out of AA. I do spot the Gepard over there, so which luckily kills the other at first, so I have time for my Mi-35 to retreat. I get out the L15M, or I already had it out. Luckily, it was close enough, or not too close, so that the L15M could still drop the bombs. I don't manage to kill it, as you'll see, and I lose the L15M, but I stun it. And the Polo, look at the smoke here. Maybe you can see there's the smoke shell coming in. You can see it again. I was hoping, please don't drop like exactly here. Also, the Mi-35 got shotted by Milan 2, but I tell it to move again, and it starts moving, and then the Milan 2 can't shoot anymore, or can't hit it anymore because it's not a ground unit anymore. And the Poto, BAM! I'm sorry, fucks it over, and now that means, what? Mi-35 can reign supreme. At the same time, I know he doesn't really have any vehicles here, so I'm just gonna smoke off the town and see if I can make something work with the Mechanisovana and the Lirien and the EVP in the background. I just saw his KWS evac, so I buy 2 L15Ms because I have the points and they're fast. Try to bomb these Milan as well, because why not? And just see how that works. And yeah, Mi-35, like I said, basically really helping in dealing with this shit. I'm pretty sure I killed the Milan 2 here. And now he doesn't really have anything to deal with my stuff over here, so that's good for me. Still has his tiger somewhere. I still didn't kill it, I'm pretty sure. But I also haven't seen it in a while. I'm kind of like anxious, like where the fuck is this tiger all the time? Because it's you always spot it way too late because of the stealth, of course, right? So there's a TD, but I'm not really too worried because I have PGC 80s around, I have the AKM around, all with a 2800 meter range. I'm basically driving up with the PvP kind of because kill that shit and maybe also kill the Gepard, but also I want to move it up before the M84A in case there's still infantry in here that I didn't manage to kill, most notably Panzergrenz 90, Sotrip 95, you name it. And yeah, there they are. PGC 80 driving up to deal with that TD. Was close enough so that it was able to kill one of the PGCs, but the other one finishes it off with the help of the AKM. F15M coming in, a bit greedy here, got killed by the Rodan 3 back there. And maybe also with the help of the KWS, I'm not sure. But I'm making good ground here. He is, however, taking +1, but there's still 20 minutes left, And now there's 2 Leopard 3A1, so that is where he spent his points suddenly. Because I was wondering, he must spend his points somewhere. He didn't really spend a whole lot at the moment. And that's where his points were. Peace run coming in. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm gonna lose the M84A. I had no smoke up, Once again, just bad play by me. I should have anticipated something like that. At least I killed the Beast Run, even though I lose the Lazur, but still, in my opinion, for me, probably worth it. At the very least, I still have an okay position, but nothing really to do with the vehicles here at the moment. The Polos died, IFVs died, M84A died. Actually, still one Polo left, but still. I buy another Mi-35 because this one is out of ammo. I still have the Congress M though, which for some reason I apparently told to attack move, which get the hit on the 2A1s, and now at least forces them to retreat, right? So that is still very good. But I'm getting pushed out here, and here, whoopsie. You can see on the left here the MX-13s, he had Milans too, so I wanted to be very careful. Unfortunately, I don't manage to finish off the KWS that tried to dive the Mi-35. Very unfortunate. Yes, out with like 1, 2, or 3 HP. I'm not sure how much damage the PGC-80s dealt, if they dealt any. So that's unfortunate. I see the Roland 3 moving back there. He has a Gepard there, so I have to be careful with the Mi-35. Alouette, by the way. Look at what it's spotting. It's also spotted Roland 3 moving in there, of course. which might also just kill the alert in a bit if I'm not too careful. 2 once here got repaired, but I told my mortar. I can see you can see the shell here, I believe. Yeah, told mortar to shoot at them, not to damage them, but to basically stop them getting repaired. Mechanic Savannah luckily get the kill on those Milan 2 because his Milan 2s really have been annoying me and done a lot of work against me. So now I'm like, you know, he never really tried anything down there. He never really did anything there. I might as well try to push up. I have 40 carry squads. I have an MR35. While it has no ammo, it still has a Yak B, right? Which is, against infantry, very, very good. And I was thinking, well, the Roland is here, and maybe it is in a position where it can't really shoot at my MR35. So maybe I can use it as fire support. And even if it dies, you know, it's basically empty, so who cares? And with the help of the VDV-90, he should have a hard time helping his infantry with like Martyr 2s and the like. There's this Roland 3, by the way, which luckily misses one of the missiles. And after it missed the first missile, I knew, well, I'm gonna get out alive, because the Roland 3 has to reload for 10 seconds after it shoots twice. So that's great. Yeah, for a second I thought, you know, let's try to engage Roland 3 with his MR35, but I expected that it wouldn't get there in time before the Roland 3 loaded, especially with the Panzergrens there maybe shooting at it and stunning it, and whatever else he might have in there. Congress M, by the way, kills one of the 2A1s, so that's nice. And now I'm like, you know, he just moved his Scabbard there, has his Roland here, so I'm gonna do the Putin move and see my opponent move the A's to one side. So, well, he took like 50 seconds to move his A. I'm gonna take 3 seconds to move my helicopters to the other flank again. And, yeah. Try to get his 2A1 there. Sadly, though, my MI-35 is shaken, so it doesn't really hit. But in theory, it was a great move. Yeah, with the PGC-80s, I also know as well, he doesn't really have a whole lot of stuff there. Gepard does manage to move into range of the MR35. There's the Tiger finally. I buy the Lazur, probably a bit too greedy. I don't really have any scouts there to keep line of sight, and I don't think I get the kill on it. Luckily for me, actually, I lost line of sight on the Tiger, and since I told the Lazur to attack the Tiger and not like fly there, as soon as it lost line of sight, the Lazur went into default, you know, let's just circle just around where we are at the moment mode. So I didn't actually continue flying in there, meaning I effectively just baited his, what seems to be his KWS and killed it. So that was very nice. So the Tiger actually just, you know, abusing his stealth is, I guess, one way to put it, saved the life of my Lazur and allowed me to get a free kill. Get a few missiles off. I hit the Tiger once. About to get killed by the Gepard and Roland. The VDV missed the shot. This is, by the way, the Leopard Recanning that was driving down back there at the start of the game. Missed the first shot, unfortunately. I think I get the second one. Kill the Tiger. I think I might also get the Roland. Yeah. It really feels like Putin. I'm killing his AA, you know. Using helicopters to very good effect, you know. Yeah, this is, I believe this is the CV he had in there. He's now moving over there. I have the M84A here, so I'm like, you know what? I don't see his I see a single 2A1 there, which is damaged and in general just inferior to the M84A. So I might just try to, if I can't kill the CV, you know, at least stop the reinforcements that he's sending in there, and you know, just force him away and not tick against me. For once, I'm having okay smoke micro and 84A micro here over there. I might MTV also notices me, well, he doesn't have a whole lot of AA there. Making waste one of the hot 2s on the Tiger, which is always good because it only has 4. Yeah. Oh, now you can see in a second. Here I'm just putting stuff in here because he can very easily just stop me from, you know, driving down there, drive his own stuff down there. But this should still be relatively safe for me, and that's the only thing I really need to hold in order to hold this. He spots my PGC-80. I'm not sure how, if he has something in there, but most likely in there. But he doesn't spot my Polo, which is weird. So I'm really confused at this point. He actually doesn't spot a PGC-80. Never mind, I'm retarded. Tiger on the right kills my MR35. Not a big issue. You know, obviously, I would have liked to have it alive, but whatever. Apparently, I don't even notice it. Oh, this is beautiful, by the way. This is very beautiful. I actually have to So there's the 2A1 and my M84A. My M84A is in cover. 2A1 has medium optics, so as soon as I shoot, even if I'm in cover, he will notice me. And usually what happens is if you shoot and as after you shot, you tell your tank to reverse, when you give units command, there's always a tiny bit of input delay. So this is usually enough time for the opponent's tank to aim and shoot. So what you sometimes want to do, or in this scenario, for example, you want to give your tank the reverse order while it's like in the middle of aiming, because it'll only actually start properly reversing by the time it's shot, and then it's fast enough with reversing for the enemy tank to not get a shot off. You'll see here what I mean. So this is, I already gave the reverse command just before it started aiming, but it was a bit too early. Maybe, I'm not sure if you missed it, but let me. So I'm currently on attack move. Just gave the reverse command. So I fired a shot off, hit, and got back into cover before he could finish aiming at me. Kind of micro intensive, and you know, can sometimes be worth it, however, because it's a 100% free shot. Kind of proud of that one, I have to say. Yeah, I'm still investing points here. I'm not too aggressive here because I don't want to overextend, so I'm actually not pushing up with a Panzer Yakari. And I'm just gonna keep my Yakari 90 there because, for one, if he pushes back in there, I get signals, and two, me not pushing them up and losing them potentially doesn't give him then a signal that, hey, it's free again, I can move back in there. So I just want to keep it in there and focus on the left, you know. And if I focus on the left, I maybe also have to force him to focus there, which in turn keeps the Yakari 90 there alive, etc. And yeah. Kind of a bit too aggressive here. Somehow the Snazka got weapon jammed, and I don't know how. But it's still alive, so that's all that matters. Apparently, I was expecting... Hang on. MX-13 isn't killing them. I spotted an AMX-13 here, and it's not shooting there. So did this Snazka manage to kill it? I'm not sure. I spotted Escort there, so by my PGC-80s. I still have this one around at least. I also noticed that there's no Milans firing out there, so either they're empty or he doesn't have any there. I did got a shot off on the 2A1 earlier, so I expect to win the fight, assuming we both hit. There's Milan 1 transport, so but the smoke saves me from the Milan 1s. Only 17 AP, but you know, against 15 armor, this still does like 2 damage or something. I didn't say it, but I did buy a CV on the right. I did get one of the Milans here, so I was hoping that I at least killed one of the Milan squads while it was still in the transport. Immediately reverse, because I don't want to get killed, of course. And yeah, basically my plan is just to, maybe I can actually get into Gregory from this angle, into Fedor from this angle, because I know he doesn't have a whole lot of stuff there. Kind of trying to maneuver the Polo around without it getting killed from here or from there or from here, and because it's really gonna be very helpful against IFVs, but it's a bit slow, and the YPRs just completely wreck my infantry out in the open, and the BVPs weren't able to actually do a whole lot. So he's pushing my Yakari 90 out there, which is why I didn't push up the Panzer Yakari, because if he has like Marder 2s around and far enough out, they're just gonna fuck over my whole infantry, so I was just gonna play defensively exactly because of that. I didn't have enough units to support my push up there. Turning on ammo again for the AKMs because they were out. And repairing my M84As, of course, as well. So again, kind of a stalemate. Not a whole lot of stuff happening. But I still want to get back into Fedor and potentially pushing him out of Gregory. Buy another Mi-35, because I haven't seen a whole lot of AA around. Or maybe I don't buy an Mi-35. Spot this with the Alouette. Oh, now I see what I'm doing. Okay. So as you see, I'm gonna move out the M84A here, and I didn't spot anything up there, any tanks, so I can potentially just get free shots into whatever he has there, like his infantry, effectively. While he's still busy, like, positioning himself in there, he does have mortars around though, so I'm gonna retreat, because I don't think I can win that engagement with his mortar support. I could use my own mortars as well, of course, but he has 2 mortars. And 2 is bigger than 1. Buy another Polo against all these MX-13s, etc. escort on the right, but I don't really have, again, PGC-8 is so amazing. I don't really need to do anything because I already have PGC-80s there, which are already like also fire support against other infantry, so I might as well just, I don't really have to fear anything. I do get the Sneska for the flank though, because he does have like these Fuchs around and AMX PRIs, and I don't want to potentially have to deal with that, them just doing some shit. So I was like, alright, just get something for the base. There's no infantry in there, but yeah. Last one of my PGC-8 is there somehow, and I'm not really sure, but not a huge issue. Buy another Polo, because Polos are live. BTR 50 is completely unchallenged, but he is moving his 2A1 up here, which signals to me that he expects me to potentially do something. With an M84A, for example. Buy a ZCZ for Gregory, so I can get a tick going on. It's only 10 minutes left, and he has 111 points ahead. I need to get going. Yeah, not really a whole lot happening for a while, I believe. Just some small skirmishes here and there. And I also want to get this video done. Yeah, I mean, I was basically just both of us reinforcing stuff. I have 3 M84As around here now. So this is where I basically start to push down there. I smoke off his Milan. I get my M84As going. I know that he doesn't really have a whole lot of stuff there. Maybe a 2A1 in this area here. But in here, I assumed he mainly has some infantry, IFVs, MX-13s of that sort. But nothing really heavy that can properly deal with M84As. And even if he gets a peace run or something, I have 3 M84As here, he can't deal with all of them. And I have PGC-80s to deal with the Tigers, etc. And now he's pushing up with his 2A1 that he earlier pushed up here to deal with this shit. Pushes it down here. I get my Polo, try to get it like into a position where I can get the shot here. Move up one of my M84As to deal with the Leopard 2A1 or, engage it. While the other two can push down here and he's just too far away. Still get small cover up, in case he has 80 gems or something. Get a Panzerjäger with the idea to basically just, drive in there into the town, because as you can see, it's contested, even though I have a CV in here, which means he has a CV in there, and I didn't mention it, but I saw him drive a Fuchs down there, and I know that he has an infantry CV in the Fuchs. I was like pretty damn sure it has to be an infantry CV in the town. M84A. And here, not quite line of sight with the, again, to the 2A1, but the 2A1 is now deciding to move down. So I was like, alright, have the M84A and the 2A1 engaged, trade the shot. In the meantime, the Polo is just gonna sideshot the 2A1. Unfortunately, the 2A1 manages to break line of sight of both the M84A and the Polo. That's a bit unfortunate, but yeah. Again, now he has a Brat here, which I didn't realize at the moment. I only, maybe I saw in like my peripheral vision, YPR that has to be the autocannon vehicles, but it's actually the Brat. The Brat is a Tau 2 carrier. However, Tau 2 is inferior to the Malyutka M. Speaking of Malyutka M, let's look at what this little bugger is doing. 2A1 engaging, whoops, 2A1 engaging the M84A that is here behind the Concourse. Trying to get a side shot. I think it missed, and in return the M84A obviously shooting back. But the fucking Polo Master Race got a side shot on this little bitch. 35 points, by the way. There's a Brand, which I just noticed. Oh shit, it's fucking vehicle. Killing BVP M88. I'm like, nah. BVP's big brother, the Polo, is gonna come down and it's gonna avenge him. There you can see, oh, Prat, by the way, has to reload after like 2 shots, The Polo has to reload after like 6 shots. And bam, get shit on, son. Yeah, sorry for that cringe, but I just, Polo gang, my dudes. There, Marder 2 driving down there. Oh no, Marder 2 is gonna kill all my IFVs. Hell nah, Polo gang is here. Bam, get shit on. Alright. So that's looking good. Oh, 2A1 by the way. Get shit on. By the way, 3 front armor, so you need like 21 AP to one-shot it with kinetic. Yeah, Polo. Polo is fucking amazing, my dudes. I love that little thing. But yeah, I'm just basically pushing up, but I have only 3 minutes 47 left. He's 111 points. I'm not ticking, so it's not looking great. I just noticed, oh shit, this is Tiger, but I have 3 PGC. Hang on. I have 3 PGC 80s here, but I have to. This is such a tiger thing. Nice artifacts. So here, tiger, right? I spot the tiger, right? I spot a tiger, I aim at the tiger, right? Nah. Where's the tiger? Where's the tiger? Amazing. Yeah. Invisible rocket pods, by the way. Invisible hot 2, by the way. But hey. Now by Lazur, which gets line of sight, and with the help of the PGC-80, I will be able to kill it. Grenadiers not doing much against Nesca and a BVP-80. He buys a 2A5 now, which is dangerous, but, you know, I was like, you know, I'm just gonna put a fucking wall here, smoke wall, and if he wants to engage my M84As at nearly point blank range, let him do. If not, I'm just gonna kill his shit. The little stuff he has there. Milan unfortunately gets the kill on the M84A, but it was nearly dead anyways. He also has no AA, so the Mi-35 again can do a lot of work. He kills the CV. Sneska killed apparently the transport. The Stotreben came in. There's the infantry CV. There's that's a Gepard. Killed my Mi-35, but that's fine because Mi-35 killed his CV. He's doing a push here, but you know, me playing defensively, I have enough stuff to potentially deal with everything he wants to do there. 2A1 and sadly kills one of my polos, you know, and I can't stand that, you know, you can't just kill my polos, my dude. So I'm like, you know, gotta avenge my polo. Guess I retreat the M84A that he shot at, because if they were just continuing to stand there, his 2A1 would keep shooting at the damaged M84A. So I reverse back in while the other one is still shooting, force the 2A1 to now engage the one that was on full HP, and thus save the damaged M84A, but the 2A1 gets out. But that's fine by me. The one, you know, I honestly just don't care. It's too far away to do with my shit, and it's just gonna shoot at my Panzerjäger, so what? He doesn't have a CV in there, even if he kills all my Panzerjäger, whatever, dude. Yeah, now after his attack failed, I'm just gonna say like, well, I have to go there and try to kill the CV and get the +2 going. That's not a CV, but it was a YPR wheel transport, so I'm pretty sure, oh, that's gotta be the infantry CV. And it is indeed an infantry CV. And I kill it. And now I'm like, well, 1 minute left. What now? Not enough time to get a win. 35 just kills, I think it was a Marder 2 actually. KWS actually, very amazing dive, you know, got 2 missiles off on hit with both. I don't see that very often because KWS is pretty fast. That's why I buy the tank CV for the base, by the way. 2 lances on my base CV didn't kill it. I bet it also couldn't kill a Polo if it wanted to. Just kidding, of course. Liren possibly saved the life of my M84A here, because it made the 2A5 spot the Liren and then shoot at the Liren, and now it has to reload. 27M coming in. Wait, do I kill the... Ah, right, game ends. So, yeah. 81 to 111. I needed like 20 points more to get a draw, you know. It's a bit unfortunate, but I'm very happy with how I played in the remaining 25 minutes. First 15 minutes were pretty trash, but I was like very happy. Let's skip ahead to the... Get to the kill list, because I want to see what the Polos killed. So, Congress M, by the way, did a lot of work as well. Hang on, there was a Polo earlier, wasn't it? God. There's a Polo. Score, yeah, that's the first Polo. Marder 2, Prat, that's Tau 2 carrier. Gepard. That's 55 points, 15 points, that's 70 points. I think it costs 60 points, it's like 130. Marder 2 is 130 points? No, 160 points. Killed. Granted, I did lose like 2 Polos or something that didn't do anything, but there's 35 points each. Where's the other Polos? They're gonna show up in a bit. Yeah. Oh yeah, I had a better KD, so you know, if I was Salzburg, I would have won. I might empty visit to do a whole lot, but it might also be a map thing. There's the other polo. Leopard 201. Leopard 201, yo, fucking polo gang, my dude. Also, I didn't lose a single CV this game. And I killed 3. I did use a whole lot of helicopters, and Putin, okay, he kind of did as well, but not for his standards. So it really felt like the other way around, where I'm like making quote unquote the comeback happen like in the end and rolled him over in the end. That's usually the other way around. Usually against Putin, at least in the past, it's always like, all right, I often win the opener, you know, I have a good early game, and then he just slowly starts rolling me over, and in the last 5 minutes, it's just like going for the kill, you know. This time around was the other way around. I was doing that kind of. I was doing a lot of helicopter movement left and right and shit. It was a interesting match. But yeah, like I said, except for the first 10 to 15 minutes, I think I played pretty well. If we just want to see the raw gameplay, you know, a link should hopefully be in the description or in the comments or whatever. Or just check my channel. Hang on, let me quickly see my channel. View as a new returning subscriber, because you're all obviously subscribed to me. All right. Did I not? Hang on a second. Maybe I don't have a playlist for all these sorted out videos. I could have sworn I had one. Maybe it's not public? Sorry for that. I wanna just... Playlists... out. Oh no, it is public. Weird, whatever. Yeah. Like I said, video should hopefully be in the description. Oh no, let me show you the deck again in case you're curious. Very professional here. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed the retrospective analysis. So I didn't talk too much bullshit like I usually do. And yeah, you know, expect at some point a deck showcase of this, which is probably a bit looking different than how it is now. You know, at the moment, I'm not too sure what to think of these and the. I do want VDV90, but I'm not sure about the transport. I'm also not 100% certain about Panzeri. But I think this is the biggest card where I'm like, should I use something else, and what should I use instead? Because I'm not sure what I want. Yeah. I have 1 point over, but I'm not sure what to do with that. You know, I don't. This is a must. So I could potentially replace this. Put a fob in here. Get this out and get a Euro again. Or maybe replace this. Replace this and this. You know, since I have 1 point over and this is worth 2 points. And get a Euro again. And a fob, right? Maybe. I'm not sure. But then I feel like this is still a fallback card, right? So I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not. It's a bit tough. Hello? There we go. You know, I'm just gonna test stuff out. Expect some more games of this. I'm really kind of getting into it. It is obviously not that great for grinding because I don't have availability bonus. I only have 45 points, so it is kind of easy to. Well, I wouldn't say it's bad for grinding, but it doesn't have a lot of flex units. With flex, I mean flexible, not like flexing on someone, but I don't have a lot of flexible, like fallback units, a lot of niche cards, you know, with 50 activation, 55 activation points, or even 60 of like US, Soviets, and Israel. You can put a lot of unit cards in there, which means that you can often put in a lot of unit cards that are niche, but since you have the activation points, you can put them in, and then there are always these situations where they suddenly become very great, and you're glad to have them in attack, but with only 45 activation points, I can't fit that in, right? So outside of the basics of stuff that you need, I don't really have anything else, if that makes any sense, right? So now, just like the M84A, it has to fulfill the role of basically every kind of tank card in the game, except for like charioteers and stuff that are just fire support, but except for that, it has to fill the super heavy, the heavy, the medium, you know, it has to fill all on its own. So while it obviously can do that, it doesn't do everything top notch. It's top notch at being a medium, but it's not top notch at being a super heavy or super heavy killer all the time. So that's what I have to work with. But it's fun. I wouldn't say it requires a unique playstyle, but I would say that it has to, how do I say it? You know, it has to be played differently in a lot of in many situations than most other decks, just due to the lack of flexibility. In any case, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you see you next time, yeah, or in the next one, either of those. See ya.